Testing. I got batteries. Can you hear me? I got batteries. I got the batteries. Yes. Commercial business district. Opportunity zone means there's going to be a tax benefit for that buyer. So if they bring jobs in there, they might get money for remodeling or updating a building. They'll get tax breaks and exemptions. So that's worth checking out. Like if, for your client, just have them call the city or like Google whatever city it's in to find out about what the perks are for buying something in an opportunity zone.
I think that's it. I think it's the last words, right?
Okay, so if you're looking for your password, I wrote an example. It's the last four of your social. The default password is the first four of your last name, pound sign, last four of your social.
What's that for?
That's for the Exit Resource Center.
Oh, got it.
But my computer saved it.
Yeah, I figured if that's what it's to get into, I'm okay to get. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to see what other vacation you have.
This is not church.
Is it on?
Yeah. Right, it's on, oh, it's Rise. Do you know who Michelle's
There we go. She's in her car.
I'm sure she'll be here.
She's there. Okay.
You're from school, right?
Yeah.
I
This is
well, I
crazy
did with
how-
somebody
yeah,
else.
her and actually Jack.
Robert.
The three of us. Robert, sorry.
Just someone to have.
Robert. Yeah, we went through realtor school together.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. You're a sister too, right?
Yeah.
Going on some property.
It's not
So,
church, it won't be.
Going on something.
Yeah, I'm really trying to make an offer on some land, but
It's like
I don't know if I would wholesale it or buy it myself, probably wholesale it, but I wanna make a real good offer. I'm just having a hard time. I need to get some documents from the city. I'm trying to figure that out.
Maybe it'll
It's
start.
gonna take a little time. I
It might shut down.
wanted it to be sooner rather than later, but I have to wait on the documents, so.
That's fine.
We want to sell a property that we have in East Nashville. So we want to list it. I know it's
It goes back to 4.
But we've been trying to like wholesale it.
It feels good, right?
Trying to buy it.
Uh-huh. Jamie?
Any
Were you talking to
temperature
Jamie
above
too?
No.
60
Oh,
degrees
okay,
is hot.
just
Not yet.
other
It's
wholesale,
a,
other wholesalers?
yeah, hit like so many offers. Neighborhood, they've been like really canvassing like our neighborhood in East Nashville. People are just looking to buy a property, so, but our property's finished for the work. I mean, it's not like super nice, but it's not, it's tear down.
They weren't really
Is it,
for
is it an investment property or your residence?
Investment,
Oh, okay.
yes, yeah.
Oh, wow, well, I mean, depends on whether you wanna keep it or not, you know?
Yeah, although
If
it's
you're willing
like-
to sell it, you can get what you want for it, I'm sure.
Although I was telling Michelle about it, she was like, maybe you could refinance it or get HELOC on it.
Are you on any
Pull that
leases
money
still?
out, keep the property,
Are you
still
on
cash
leases
flow a
still?
little bit. I don't know if we could cash flow on it if we pulled out the money.
I'm signing up at Rise.
Like
I
right now,
don't
cash
have to
flow's
sign up
fine.
now. The first
But
time.
we wanna get like.
It's 150.
Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you.
August and I don't want it. They told me.
Yeah, I'll talk to somebody.
How have you been?
Doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
make those connections.
I feel like I'm
For sure.
Oh,
No doubt.
yeah. Oh, how lovely it is. The house that we live in
Well, I
is
have
2
two
blocks
clothes.
away from the
Mine
house
is
we're
dry.
selling. And so it's like, if I put my sign down, it's like picture on it, and it like legitimizes me, which is nice.
They're both, well, one's a referral. And then the other one.
We'll start like in 5 minutes.
From me. Yeah, it is.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Go.
Testing, can everybody hear me? Does this sound like it's working?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what, last time I watched online, I could not hear anything.
You could not?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I tried to tell someone, but nobody, so I just shut it off,
Okay.
cause I couldn't hear.
Okay. It is working. Okay.
And I had my volume all the way up on my computer.
Yeah, okay, well, hopefully today it's set up sound-wise.
It was a guest speaker, he had a really quiet voice, I forgot.
Yeah, Tim from the home warranty or whatever.
It was so quiet, I couldn't.
Okay. 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 Oh, I forgot, I can't go far. Oh my gosh.
It's weird not having Jen here.
Oh, yeah, so, but Julia's here, everyone knows Julia's here, yeah. Exactly, yeah, so, right,
She was gonna boycott today, cause Jen wasn't here.
oh, yeah. That's funny, oh gosh. Okay, Julia, do you want to maybe close the door? Because that way, okay, close the door. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, did everybody sign in the book? Hello, testing, okay. Okay, well, I think we're going to start. So if everybody would make sure like your computer's turned on, and if you can type, did you pass out those the forms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does everyone have raise your hand if you don't have one of these. I think everyone has a packet.
Okay. You got one? Okay. So you want to get to Exit Resource Center. So the first thing you want to do is www.exitrealty.com. Okay. Has everybody at least gotten to that page where you have like then your roster code? Is anyone not at this page? Okay. All right. Okay. All right, we'll get you there. That's why we can just all be at on the same. Yeah, take your time.
Okay, go and see if you're connected.
Yeah, right.
Wi-Fi?
Shan, what is our Wi-Fi? It was 5 stones. Yeah, so
Is it Agent Network? Is that what
Agent Network, yes.
My computer lost my bookmark, so I'm gonna be struggling for a second.
Okay, that's right. You find it. Oh, it's right up here. I'll get it for you. Right here. Everyone, make sure you sign in. The reason we sign in is every time you come to a training, you get a ticket entered for a free trip anywhere in the world. Yeah. People go to cool places.
Put my name on here 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wow, we got lots of people here. Oh, thank you. Isn't that pretty? It's the color. I feel like I should be at a beach or somewhere. I'm wishful thinking. I should be at a beach. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. We're just going to wait till everyone's at the same place, so we have time. No worries.
Does anyone else have a Lenovo computer? I think
I'll go with Julia.
thanks.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, worst case, you can follow along, too, so. Let's see. Do you have yours?
I'm not in yet.
Okay.
I had it like memorized and
Okay.
I updated my computer.
Okay.
Is it roster number is your username?
Yeah, probably. It's like, yeah, mine's like an 8-digit number or 6-digit number, yep. And your password.
Passwords. I had a shortcut in it.
Yes, it was.
Address, email addresses, and I was saying email address.
I think when I looked
Yeah,
I
you're-
tried that way. Sorry, I had shortcuts.
That's
but I
okay.
lost it. 2, 5, 4, 3.
So it seems there's a problem with your actual wireless.
Now, for me, I called this morning, it's my, it was
Hey,
my
Michael.
last name.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, we're just getting everybody their laptops turned on and go to the resource center. So it's go to www.exitrealty.com.
I got it pulled up.
Oh, you do? Okay, perfect. So we're just getting everybody to this page.
No, I'll just take name should be, or it should, what I had for mine was my last name, hashtag, and then the last 4 digits of my social. So try that, capital, first letter.
Oh, that's right. This is why we're here. We want everybody to be able to access this. So, we'll get there.
Now,
This is something I haven't been doing, and I thought we should.
let me back up one second, it might be just the first 4.
We knew this would be probably the longest part of the meeting. It was just trying to get everybody on. So it's good.
Of your last
you want to
name,
make sure
hashtag,
everybody knows.
Yeah,
Last for your social.
then the, yeah.
This was a class I was like, I'm not missing this.
it's a key thing to be able to get to this Exit Resource Center. So it's fantastic that everybody's on it so far.
So this is a client login. We have
Oh, yeah, you need to do that.
That was on at Keller Williams.
Oh, well, there's one that's
And
that Marketplace is kind of that has all different partners that we have. You can get discounts on, discounts on health insurance, or if you're going to like book a car, stuff like that.
Great.
She's on? Oh, nice, Michelle. Okay.
about that.
Okay, so let's see, and Michael's just getting his set up.
Oh, even Boomtown.
I've used Boomtown before, but the sync is actually kind of better. Like,
Oh, good. Well, he said I can sign up August 1st for sync.
okay,
I'm
yeah,
gonna sign up now, but he told me,
yeah,
he told me to wait.
yeah, because we can't, there's like, we can't like saturate
That's what he
what
told
we
me.
have, yeah.
That's what he told me.
So, but we
I
have
don't
some,
mind waiting till-
but we have some new things coming on that we're signing up for, but it takes 30 days to implement, so that's probably, yeah. He's telling you the truth, of course, yeah.
I said, that's fine, I'll wait till August.
Yeah. So is everybody on this page? Everybody, okay, awesome. Okay, so what the plan is for today is, Exit, we do provide technology and tools, but we need to teach you how to use them. And the seller and buyer guides, we're just gonna go through creating them, how you use them, we'll go through them. So it's something that it's useful, some buyers want you to go through a whole presentation, some sellers might want you to go through a whole presentation. You just gotta gauge your client, because sometimes they don't want to hear that. They're just like, show me the homes, or what price do you want to offer me, or whatever, that kind of stuff. But usually, if you're working with a buyer or a seller, you kind of leave behind a folder or a packet or your business card or something. So even if they don't want to see this whole presentation, this material in it, it's all going to be branded to you. We can customize these. You can take out pages or add pages how you'd like. And you can use it as a leave behind, if anything else. Or what's nice is with these programs, you can send it to them electronically. So if you don't want to use it as leave behind, you could send it to them the day before. Or if you're already working with a buyer and you're just like, hey, I want to send this to you. Or if you're prospecting and you've already sent them your business card, you've already sent them a letter, you can actually say, if you're in your farm, hey, if you're interested, reach out to me if you want a seller's guide or a buyer's guide, because they don't really know what it is, and you could just send them this, and it's got some good information, but it'd be something you can add that's something of value that doesn't cost you really anything. You could send it to them electronically, but it's something more you can do after you've already sent them a newsletter, or you already sent them your business card, or you already sent them, hello, my name is, you can send them this as an item of value electronically, or you can mail it or something like that. So they're useful to use, and we'll kind of go over that. So if everybody's gotten this far, the next step is to go under Top Resources, click on that, and you're going to see on the right side Presentations right here. So click on Presentations. Has everybody gotten to, you won't have this type of stuff, but Manage Presentations, that screen? Everybody's that far? Okay. So one thing, if you kind of, what do you call it, toggle when you sort of like go over something, Okay, so if you go to this Add New Presentation, you see the screen, then this top thing, it says Listing Presentation. We're not going over the listing presentation today, but we are going to go over that.
Just the add new presentation.
Oh, you don't have that one? Okay.
Mine says manage settings.
Mine says manage
Oh, they'll have to go to manage settings first.
Okay, then let's go to Manage Settings first. Okay. Everybody have Manage Settings?
Yeah.
Okay, so does everybody have this screen but probably blank? Everybody have that? Okay. So this, what's really great about this, so if you toggle over each one of these things, like where it says My Tagline, I just sort of went over it. It kind of says that this appears in all presentations on the cover and closing slides. So down where it has their picture, their name, or do you guys still have to put your any of your contact info in it? Probably not. You probably don't. There's not. Your slide, your page looks just like mine, correct?
Except there's nothing in
There's nothing in any boxes. I added the language, and we're going to add language. Okay, so, but if you toggle over each thing, the tagline is if you, like if my special thing was Heather sells homes or something, and I wanted to add that on there, or List with Lucy, or you know, whatever your things are. If you wanted that at the bottom of your contact stuff, where it says My Tagline, you would put it there. So if you have something special to write. This My Online Marketing includes, so what I have written in my little section is basically what they have as an example, but you create it to your own. So whatever your online strategies are, so you could say, you know, I market on, you know, I will promote your property on Facebook and Instagram or on social media. You can change it however you want, but if you toggle on that My Online Marketing, it gives you some verbiage. It's kind of small. I wish you could copy and paste it. But that's what I put here, and it just says every listing is provided a custom digital marketing plan, including social media ad campaign, targeting local buyers, looking for the exact features offered by your home. But I could put something like, you know, I'm going to market your property on the MLS. It's going to be hit with Zillow, Realtor.com, Google. You know, you can kind of list all that. You know, you could just sort of bullet point it. And you don't have to fill all these out right now. But this is where this Manage Settings is where you would fill out some of this information. Okay? Does everybody understand that part? If you want to just, does anyone want to just copy this for now? Because we could just wait a minute if people want to just copy what's on there. Because that way you have something rather than nothing.
Heather, I have a question.
Yes.
I've already filled this out, but I put something on there about the Exit Smart sign.
Yeah, go
Would
for
that
it.
be on the online marketing?
Yeah, I mean, right, you could definitely make that online marketing because that's like a text code, so that would be considered online. And because this is something that's going to show up. Oh, sorry, I don't want to move that over there. I'll wait. This is going to show up in the seller guide and in the listing presentation guide. Oops, sorry. Gosh. And then I'm not going to change the screen, so go ahead, type whatever you want. So then it says My Offline Marketing includes, and sorry, this is, there's some little bit of language there, but it's basically saying the same thing as the online, so you would need to put something else there. I just added for myself, like, you know, I'm part of the chamber. This is kind of offline. Like, where else can you tell people about their property if it's your listing? So you might think of some other things. I just put that Chamber of Commerce groups, business networking groups, professional organizations, volunteer committees, brokerage community. Those are just some generic things that I put. But if you have special things, like you're involved with like a real estate investment network, or you have any type of other things that you do offline, like you go to schools, or you go do other things, you can put anything you want there. These are like just to customize to you. And I'm sure there's a zillion more things I could put, but it was just an idea. Oh, sorry. And then this I'm distinct in the following ways. I won't slide over it, but if you toggle over that one, this one's going to be also in your seller's guide and listing presentation, and it's kind of, you highlight your specific marketing expertise, your certifications, your experience, and whatever sets you apart. So if you have like certain designations, like you've done some CE and got certain designations, you could list those there. You could put, this was just something kind of generic that they had. I've been selling 27 years, but you don't even have to put that. You know, you don't have to put anything about how many years if you're new to the business. But you could also, if you've done something else for 25 years, say, you know, with my this type of background or with my sales background or something like that. The rest of the language, I'm tied into the local marketing community and community influencers, and this was their language. I don't usually say that, but this is what they suggested. In fact, 60% of my listings are sold based on a referral, so not only do you benefit from the online and offline professional marketing of your listing, you have a full network leverage for your benefit. And then this last one, my trusted group of industry professionals service statement. My network of professionals with Exit Real Estate Solutions, or within Exit Real Estate Solutions and in the greater Nashville community, make every effort to treat each customer with top service. And the reason we're filling all this out right now is because as we do our seller presentation, it's going to autofill this information into some stuff where there wouldn't be anything on the page. And I would go ahead and click all of those, and I just added a couple more. You can add, you know, something else too if you think of something more. So I think this is like pretty good to use for now, but definitely, you know, change it up. I mean, if I was going to send it out, I'd probably change mine up to make it more, sound more like me or do something fun, but this would work. This is the hardest part of what we're doing today. So we're getting it done first. Is anyone still typing? Anyone need another minute? Okay, go ahead. And if you leave it blank, it's totally fine too. Under testimonials, I have not done that, so I don't know if I even have any Zillow reviews, so that's just me. You may, so you can, you know, mark that, and I'm not sure how that will work, but mark it if you have reviews. Go ahead and mark, click it, and it'll probably show up somewhere for you. Or it says you can add your own. You can add 3 testimonials, so if you have a client that has written something about you, or you made something up and you got permission to use their name, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to add is fine.
What if they post like on Facebook? Can you use that, or does it have to be on like a?
I think maybe for that you may just have to like cut and paste it and then add it yourself.
She was trying to figure out how to review me, but I know how to
Yeah.
set it up.
Oh yeah, I saw your text. I do have somebody that can figure that out.
Oh.
I can send that to you.
You can still use the language of it too.
I appreciate it.
Still copy and paste, still a good review.
Does everybody have as much as they want to take from this? Anybody still working on it? No. Okay, then let's move on. All right, so now, okay, so we have our so we want to save this, so don't leave the screen yet. You want to hit save. Okay, everybody hit save.
Scroll down.
Oh yeah, scroll down, sorry. Okay, and let's see, how am I going back to where I'm at? Do you have manage presentations? Everybody have a manage presentations button now? Okay. Okay, so everybody have this screen, click on manage presentations and you got here.
Yep.
Everybody here? Okay.
No, it just didn't say.
So we're gonna, yeah, sometimes it doesn't say, it happens to me too, and I have to go back and do it.
Well, I did say, but just where you had the, like the title companies,
Yeah.
that went blank again.
Yeah, it's gone blank on mine, and then I had to redo it, but then it showed up on the presentation, so I'm not sure. So add a new presentation, everybody click on that. And so under presentation type on the top left corner, there's a little arrow. We're not doing the listing presentation. Let's go under the buyer guide first. So you would just scroll down to buyer guide. Everybody with me so far? Click on that. And so it's going to say presentation type buyer guide. Everybody there? Okay, so we can make up a prospect name. So anybody name Jones? Okay, so it's Jones. Or you can put Mr. and Mrs. Jones, whatever you want to do. This letter to buyer section, it would be on the front page, like you could write, I'm looking forward to working with you, because this is on the buyer side. Where you would use this buyer's presentation is, if let's say you were going to be meeting a buyer for the first time, and you were going to email this to them. You may want to just add some language there, just saying, looking forward to working with you. I know we're going to find you the perfect home, ! Or something like that. You could write for letter to buyer, or you can leave it blank. It just depends what you want to do, but that's kind of where you can put something. So I'll just write that. Looking forward to working with you. So excited. Okay, woo! All right, so we've added that, and then you can pick a background. So it's just a preference, whatever you like. It's just, you can look at them all, see what you think fits your client or what you prefer. Everybody pick a background, and then you're going to hit save. Okay, so it should show up Jones on your presentations. So let's go to view. Click on that view. I've moved the cursor to view. And if I'm talking like super slow and easy, I just want to make sure, not everybody can be really quick with it, so I'm just trying to take our time and going through each step so everybody's on board. So with these buyer's guides, again, you may want to do a presentation sitting down with them. Like, let's say you brought your buyers, they're from California, and for the very first time you're meeting, you come to the exit office, you go into the conference room, you put the laptop there, hook it up, it's already hooked up to that big screen in that conference room, and you just are sitting there for the first time. You're probably telling them something about yourself, you're asking questions about them, how many kids, what are you looking for, that type of stuff. So depending on the feel, if they have time and they want to go through this with you, it talks about exit, why exit, this and that, and we'll go through that. Or it could be something that you just email them the day before your meeting, or the day after. Or if you're working with any buyers and you just want to send them this just to make you look more professional, there's a lot of uses for something like this. But okay, so the buyer's guide, you notice it had their name on it because it was prepared for, so it doesn't seem so generic. And then looking forward to working with you, so excited. And then it will show your picture and then all your stuff. Does everybody have, does it say their name and Exit Real Estate Solutions on their bottom of the corner?
I have to change that.
How can I change my email on that? 'Cause it's like a different email.
Oh, well, I have this.
That might be something like Tina has to do, front office, because this is like through Exit Corporate, so whatever email they have.
How do we know what they text to get our mobile business card?
Oh, okay, so where mine says text Heather 123, so if you haven't set up a mobile business card,
I think I have.
okay, so that Heather 123, that's my personal vanity code. So whatever your vanity code should show up there.
I remember seeing that in some of the paper.
Yeah, because everybody should have gotten to set up your own mobile business card. I think there's like a link, maybe either Jennifer or Julia would have, kind of told you about setting up your mobile business card. And so even if it's not showing, you might not be set up yet. That's what I would assume. So maybe jot yourself a note to set up mobile business card.
No, I have it set up, it's just not on here. Because I can send it,
You can send it.
I've sent it to a lot.
Okay.
Okay. There is a like a help button on
Okay,
here.
See, this must be myexit.co/n/. Can I change that to make it easier?
Oh yeah, you can create your own vanity code, so you can make it, CC is cool, something like that.
Everywhere else I've had to make my own presentation.
Yeah, and this again, this one, we're not even doing the listing presentation where you add all the comps and all that. We're gonna do it another day, and that one's fantastic because it's, this is all free, this is all included.
That information.
Okay. Okay, is it all right for me to just to move on? Okay, I'm gonna move on. So at the bottom right of your screen, there's a little arrow down here. Just click it one time. Okay, so if you were sitting there and it says generate PDF, and then there's this buyer survey, that's like, I've never used the buyer survey. That's like, if they want to fill something like that out. The generate PDF is if you want to print this, but when you go back to that presentation, well, when I go back there, I can show you where you can send it or view it. Okay, so this first slide on this, why use a realtor? And it says only sales representatives who are licensed members of Organized Real Estate, the National Association of Realtors for U.S. and Canadian Real Estate Association in Canada, can call themselves realtors. Only realtors are held to a high code of ethical and professional conduct by these organizations. Only realtors have access to the MLS data to provide you with current information to guide you through the buying process. You may not want to sit there and read that all to the people when they're sitting in front of you because their eyes are going to glaze over and whatever. So if they were to just read it on their own, that's totally fine. If you sent it ahead of time or you mailed it to them. But if you're sitting there with your buyers and you're having a conversation in the conference room, for instance, you're going to let them know you are a realtor, besides that, you've been doing it for X amount of time, if you want to say that, but that, besides being part of Exit Real Estate Solutions, you're part of the Sumner Real Estate Association or Greater Nashville Association. You're also part of the National Association of Realtors. So it just adds a little bit of credibility, makes you more professional, and these are all things that you already are. Okay? Why use an exit agent? So, this is just maybe if you're meeting with these buyers and they haven't really committed to you, they haven't signed a buyer's rep agreement yet, you're just getting to know each other, you're kind of telling them about yourself, and this is just one way of going in on that. It says, why use an exit real estate agent? We take our knowledge to the current market conditions and couple it with expert negotiation skills. Exit agents are full-service agents, and we pride ourselves on the commitment to service. When you use an exit realty agent, you're paying it forward because a portion of every transaction fee received by Exit Realty Corp. International is applied to a charitable fund. And that's like where you can say, we've given back over $6.8 billion, and we things that we do locally in our office, like the K9 for Warriors, or doing veterans breakfast, or donations to the animal shelters and things like that. Those are things that we do. This is just something that kind of sets us apart if they're interviewing 3 other agents. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't say that what's on your screen. Did you freeform that, or should it say
No.
what yours does?
Does everybody else's have this already on there? It does? Whose does not have this language already populated on your screen? Are you on the listing presentation, or are you on a different guide?
Did I click on the wrong thing?
Yes, we're on the buyer's guide. So is everybody else on the same screen seeing the same stuff? Okay, so buyer's guide. Because at the first screen there were choices, a listing presentation, buyer's guide, seller's guide, and then there's a sponsoring one too. I'm just going to move on, Julie. Okay, that's right. All right, so let's click to the next slide. Okay, so let's find you a home. Every buyer is different, and it's my job to help you determine exactly what kind of home you're looking for based on your needs, your budget, and your lifestyle. So as you're in your conversation, you don't have to read the screen, but it's just a talking point. You could say, hey, what are the things that you're looking for in a home? What areas do you want to be in? What price range do you want to be in? This could just be in the background. Where and how I'll identify potential homes. It says, once we determine the kind of home you're looking for, I have various tools and strategies to stay on top of what is available in the marketplace so you don't miss out on your dream home. So this might be a time where you might say, I can set you up on an automatic search. So the instant a home that matches your criteria hits the market, you're going to be notified right away. You could say, I work with builders, I'll search out for sale by owners, I'll look on RealTracs. But again, this is you're meeting with these buyers the first time, you're kind of telling them what you can do for them that they can't do on their own. Okay. Open houses. So this is a lead way into open houses. I'll read it just because that's what we're here in the meeting for. Attending open houses is an effective strategy to help you determine what kind of home you're looking for. I'd be happy to accompany you to offer housing and market expertise. I'll also provide you with some of my business cards, which you can provide to the listing agent when attending open houses on your own, so they can keep me apprised of any changes you as a potential buyer need to know. So this is important when you're working with buyers and they're just out on their own, left to their own devices, and they go into an open house, and let's say you don't have that buyer's guide or that buyer's rep agreement signed. You know, you want to at least make sure they have your card so that if they do go in, they could say, yes, I'm working with an agent, here's their card, just so that way, in the event they want to buy that home, you've already kind of been that procuring cause. The agent knows, you know, that you're connected with them. So it's important to go over that with your buyers. So whether you do it in this presentation, it's just something that you definitely want to share. And also you may want to say too, at open houses, the agent that is standing there, letting you in the house, isn't representing them. You know, that they represent the seller. So anything that they say to that listing agent, yes, that's what I was saying, can or use against you, yeah. So like if you say, oh, I love it, I gotta have it, you know, what would it take to buy it or whatever, like you need to let them know that that agent isn't working for them. So that's something else you'd want to mention if they are going to open houses, okay? Community information. I will provide the most recent information on lifestyle factors such as schools, places of worship, retail, public transportation, and more to ensure your home is located in an area that suits your needs. So one thing to be careful with this, you know, you all learned about steering, you learned about some of those other things that you do not want to be doing, but you definitely can direct them, say, hey, you can go to greatschools.com, you can look up Google Gallatin Police Department, or you know, whatever it is, Parks and Rec. You can lead them to those places, but you know, let them tell you where they want to live, what areas, and if they don't know, give them all the information that they can make those choices for themselves. But it is really great as the agent from here, and if you're working with a client that's from California, Chicago, they have no idea Murfreesboro, Mount Juliet, whatever, like all those names are a blur. You know, they just know Nashville. So, you know, you just have to remember that. You guys all know it. You're the professional, and they're trusting you to help them. So if they say, yeah, I want to live where there's water. Oh, okay, well, then maybe Mount Juliet, Lebanon, maybe Gallatin, Hendersonville, something like that. Or they may say, I want to be where there's a lot of state parks, or you know, that kind of thing. You need to ask the questions. How much home can you afford? So this is a talking point. Then you can start talking about, have you been pre-approved? You know, do you have a home to sell? Have you already sold your home? Are you going to be a cash buyer? This says, my team of industry professionals and I can help you determine your buying power. So that's where you can talk about, I have lenders, you know, a couple lenders you can call. You know, our first step is to get pre-approved so we know where you're at. Then the next slide is comparable recent solds. On-demand access to MLS data and metrics provide me with the necessary information I need to quickly show you what comparable properties are selling for in your desired area. So when you're meeting with those buyers the first time and they're saying, well, we're not sure where we want to be, but you know what their price range is, you may sit there on the computer up here, or if you're at Starbucks or whatever, and just say, okay, so if you're saying around $400,000, for around $400,000, this is kind of what you would get in Franklin. This is you know, you can show them some comparables. This is what you might find in Portland, you know, so they can kind of get an idea, okay, this might be, you might not get as much house here, or whatever. So that's just a nice talking point to help you keep that conversation moving. Okay, next slide. Communication. Communication is key throughout the buying process, and I'll keep you informed every step of the way. In whichever way you preferred, I am always just a call, click, or text away. So that's just, you know, make sure they have all your contact information. Send them your mobile business card. Let them know if there's a certain way that you prefer, like if you work another job or you're just doing something else and text is a better way for you to be, you know, let them know, say, hey, it's better to text me. I might be showing properties. I'll call you back as soon as I can. I usually make all my calls within an hour, something like that. Communications is important too, because, you know, they're always going to be wondering, you know, like, oh, what's going on? Especially once they make a deal, you need to be in constant communication with them.
One of the things we constantly stress, Heather, is manage expectations.
Yes.
Say what you'll do and do what you say. And so whatever they want, as far as communication and or whatever you communicate you'll do, most people are fine as long as you do what you say you'll do. If you said, I'll return calls between this time and this time,
Yeah.
if it's an emergency, text me. As long as you do what you say, you've set the expectations,
You're good to go.
you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
The key is just do that, because right now it's such an anomaly. People cannot physically have a phone conversation with people anymore. That's taboo. I guess it's now new sin to talk.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But some people, yeah.
most of them. Manage expectations.
Right.
Do what you do and do what you say.
Good point. Yeah, definitely, you can let them know how you prefer to be contacted, but also find out what's better for them. Because if they're working a job and they can't take calls or whatever, and they just can do text, just, ask those questions. Next slide is trusted advisor. When you've found your home and you're ready to submit an offer, I serve as your trusted advisor, helping you navigate what can be a complicated process. So that's a point that you can talk about, when we do find a home, we're going to make up an offer. These are the things that we're going to be talking about. You don't really have to go into all the details, but you could say, with my experience, I can help you negotiate the best price, the best terms, get you into the house when you want to, reassure them that you have those, that you're the professional and that you can take care of this for them. Oh, sorry. Negotiating, is that the one I just did? Okay. Okay, negotiating skills. I'm a full service agent. I possess keen negotiating skills. I bring my understanding of the market to the negotiations, representing your best interests at all times. So you could just, how people name drop when they know really cool things or know really great people. So this might be a time just to say, with negotiation, our market's always changing, but we've had where there's been multiple offers, people have had to use escalation clauses, they've had to use appraisal gaps. That buyer isn't going to really understand what that is, but the fact that you kind of name dropped a few things that sound complicated, whoa, I better use an agent. Just because it's just like a little trick or tip or whatever. But if you say something like that, they might not know, and they're like, oh, okay, it's going to build some trust. It's going to have them have more confidence in you, and you're going to show like you're the professional and the expert. And that's truly, if you're trying to get this buyer to work with you, not someone else, these are things you want.
Buzzwords again, escalation.
Oh, yeah. So I would say like escalation clause, appraisal gaps,
Ooh, yeah.
right? Maybe multiple offer situations, because they're talking about negotiating skills. So, it's more than just saying, okay, we'll offer full price. That might not be what it is. And even though things are shifting a little bit, these are still things that are in our market right now. And there may be new things that develop as as the season goes on. There might be some other new buzzwords, but those are things that we've seen that most people, aren't aware of. That escalation clause. That doesn't even sound like real estate, right?
Highest and best.
Yeah, highest and best. So those are just some terms, but I would kind of drop those just because it's going to make you look better. And then how we had mentioned earlier on about Exit gives back to every transaction. This says a portion of every transaction fee collected by Exit Realty Corp. International is applied to its charitable fund. Through the Spirit of Exit dollar-to-dollar matching program, Exit offices and associates can raise money for local approved registered charities, including Habitat for Humanity, and apply to Exit's head office to have those funds matched from the company's pledged pool of funds. To date, Exit Realty Corp. International has pledged $6.8 million to charity. So it might be another way to say, as we said before, we participate in Canine for Warriors golf outing, we raise some service dogs, money goes back to Habitat for Humanity, any type of, if there's something that is a cause for them, if you know something about them, you can always check and find out if that's something Exit's even participated in, or it could be something that we participated in the future. We're always open to new ideas here, so if someone's got something that's like burning on their heart, and talk to us about it, because maybe we can figure something out. The power of the organization behind you. So this is kind of like, okay, yes, it's just you as the agent, but there's a bunch of people behind you. You have the whole team, you have all of us agents here, you have all the support people that are here, but it says Exit Realty professionals are highly trained. We're in training right now, so we are trained, and knowledgeable with access to in-depth teaching, training, and coaching at the corporate, regional, and brokerage level in specialties such as negotiation and market knowledge. In particular, Exit agents know how to recognize distinct personality types to give us an edge in the negotiation process. When they say that, has anyone seen that DISC training? I know we put it in your folders, that DISC. Everyone know what I'm talking about? Is there anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, that DISC profiling? Okay. So anyway, that's kind of what that part's talking about. You don't really have to get into it, but there is a lot of people behind you. Besides you have the team of us here at Exit. We have a lot of Exit offices in the whole southeast region. But also, when the power of the organization, Exit is all over the nation. It's international. It's here to stay, and it's one of the fastest growing franchises. Oh, Ed, you have a question?
Just to this point, whether you're working with buyers and especially with sellers, sometimes until they're doing this remark, if you don't have a great deal of experience in a lot of transactions, time sometimes they will ask you, how long you
Yeah.
been in business and how many transactions have you done, okay? It's extremely important to understand when you say, my team has done.
Or we have,
Or we
yeah.
have done. So point is, make, not that you're not, make yourself sound bigger than you are, because the opportunity that is here with this is just that. Your team does have your back, and you're part of a team, be it the office or, as the slide says, the organization. So don't undersell yourself. In
Right.
other words, take advantage of the team that you have here, and don't let them scare you, or don't you feel intimidated when you know maybe you don't have the number of transactions, the years of experience, et cetera. Just always understand our team, my team, or we, and that's
Right.
all good, because none of that is a fabrication. It's an absolute fact, and we do have each other's back.
Exactly. I was going to say, it's kind of like politics, and you're sort of just shifting the answer a little bit. You know, when they're saying, how many deals have you done? How long have you been in business? Oh, our office has been here for 15 years, since 2008. We did over $200 million in deals last year. You know, they just want to hear an answer. They're not going to press you, and you know, it's unlikely they're going to say, no, I mean you. No, how many for you? Like, they're not going to do that, because you got to really understand the whole psychology of you sitting with somebody. They're just trying to feel you out. They're not really pressing you on every little thing. They feel that they need to ask a few questions, and so whatever you answer is probably going to be fine. You know, it's just kind of like just getting to know people. So there's a little psychology behind all that. Okay, so then this is with our buyer's presentation. There's a few more slides. So this is kind of like you would gently go over like kind of some of the steps. You could just say there's a lot of steps in buying your home. You know, we got to find you a home, but you got to find, you know, I would love to be your agent. You got to get your pre-approval. Complete perfect home questionnaire. What that just means is when you're asking them, you know, what are the things you're looking for? They may say, I need a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, master on the first floor, in a community that has a pool, or you know, something like that. That's kind of a questionnaire. We have some questionnaires that are on our Exit Resource Center. You can make your own. In the 3-ring binder that some of you have that we're updating for our July boot camp, there's a questionnaire in there that you can kind of write down number of bedrooms, land, how much land you want, you know, all that kind of stuff. Yes,
Where
Marissa?
did you say the questionnaire was? Because I have somebody I'd like to send that to.
Okay, well, I can actually give you one from upstairs that I have in the binder. Otherwise, there are questionnaires on the Resource Center. If you go under search and go under, you know, perfect home questionnaire, something should populate. You can email her, okay. So then the next one's view candidate properties, create offer to purchase property, negotiate terms, accept offer, conduct appropriate property inspections, fulfill or waive contingencies, conditions, obtain mortgage financing, close the property, move in. So they're going to see, okay, you're doing a lot more for me than I thought. You know, they're just thinking, oh, I need to find a home, and I buy a home. But there's actually all those little icons. There's there's steps along the way. So again, you're kind of guiding them. You're going to look like the professional, just kind of going over this. So it is great to go do these presentations with the buyer, but at a minimum, at least give it to them so they know what to expect, like I said. The mortgage process. So as you mentioned before earlier on, that you know they need to get the pre-approval, pre-qual letter. Here's a slide for that. You'll be required to provide documentation including letter of employment, credit report is conducted, submittal for approval. Your application will be submitted to the underwriter for approval. Mortgage approved, all parties are notified, condition of financing fulfilled. Title search, a title search is conducted, title insurance acquired, funds dispersed. At closing, lawyer or title company will disperse funds according to all parties. Again, that is going to be like, oh, I definitely need to work with an agent, because how do I even do that? I don't know a title company, whatever. But you can reassure them, say, you know, we work with title companies, we work with the lenders, we handle all this stuff for you, you don't even have to worry about it. So, I mean, when they see this, they're going to be like, yeah, where do I sign? I'll do a buyer's rep agreement right now. Closing costs. This, I won't read it all for you because we'd be here longer than you guys want to be. But, you know, it shows all of those closing costs. There's more on the next slide. And so some of that, they're not going to understand what all that means. You may not even understand what all that means. Just let them see it. Moving considerations. So these are things like as they're moving, things that they might need to know about when they buy a home. You know, getting all those things changed, hooked up. That's just kind of a nice guide that they can have. Moving tips preparations, so arrange with movers, make arrangements of household plants, pets, and vehicles, house keys, mail keys. This is just kind of more information that they can have as they buy their home. Moving tips, those are actually nice tips. Charge your cell phone, organize your stuff, arrange for snacks and drinks for movers and family. Moving tips on moving day, or did I just do that one? No, confirm the movers, directions, and all that. So this is just a guide. It helps them all the way from you first met them to actually the day of moving. So these are just really great tips that they may not know and they might not have even thought about. And again, if they look at this, they're like, oh, thank you so much. I didn't even think to charge my phone. Snacks and drinks for the movers and family, because you're moving all those boxes in, so one might be hungry. Fine, first open box. Yeah, usually everyone's got that one box that's got all their key things in it. So that's a good thing to tell those buyers. Say, yeah, when you're packing your stuff up to move, have write and with Sharpie on the box, first open, so you know that's where the important things are. And then my commitment to you to invest 100% of my effort delivering first-class service to my clients, to make the process as simple and stress-free as possible, to provide you with access to my network of industry professionals who can help you every step of the way, and to serve as your trusted advisor through the entire process. Next steps, this is that buyer's survey that's on the top right here. If you want them to fill that out, I haven't even seen it myself. Fill out the buyer survey in My Perfect Home forms. Talk to a mortgage broker or lender about pre-approval. I will search the MLS and other sources available to me to prepare a list of candidate properties. I'll schedule showing appointments to view your selected homes. So maybe that buyer survey is kind of, I wonder if I click on it real quick. I just haven't clicked on it, so I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So there, are you pre-approved? So it asks a bunch of questions. Your cell phone, home phone, email, preferred method of contact like we talked about, your time frame, what area you're interested in, what's the maximum commute time you're comfortable with, are there any features you like nearby, lake, mountains, river, other things? Do you have any school considerations, interested in a condo? Okay, so yeah, this buyer survey is actually really nice, right? So is this what you want? Yeah. There you go. Print it out. Buyer survey. What size garage? Do you want a swimming pool? Is there a particular finish? Some people, only want a brick house. What floor plan do you prefer? Minimum bedrooms, kitchen features, and then they would submit it. Okay. Can I go back? Let me just see if I can go back. Okay.
You can just hit that X.
Click go.
You think if I click that X, it's not going to take me?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's like that.
Okay, I was worried it was going to start me all over. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Robert. Okay, and moving along. Thank you for viewing this presentation. I'm always ready to help. And then it has your information. Okay, so that is the buyer's guide. So it's definitely useful. So you could sit there, you can make it as fast as you want. You don't have to read every slide. You can just use that as your talking points. Or you can just print it up and put it in a folder and give it to your buyer. Or you can email that to them. So if you go back where it said, here's Jones, view it. We just viewed it. So that's how you'd view it if you're sitting there with your laptop open. But if I wanted to send it, I'd just click send, and then you would email that out to those people. You can make any changes to it at any time with edit, and you can always delete it if they've already come and gone. You don't need that any longer. Yeah? Yes?
Oh, I was just going to say, so before you got to that very last slide where it has your information,
Yes.
if you go in and add your testimonies from your reviews, then it'll show a page for each one.
Oh, fantastic. If everyone sees that slide, so right before that last page, remember what?
Whatever you add in there,
Yeah.
it'll show a page for each one.
Nice. So that was under the manage settings when we added all that information, when we had filled out all that information earlier. And then at this bottom here where it says testimonials, and if you said use my 3 most recent Zillow reviews, or you could add your own testimonials, she said that it'll show up at the last few pages of that buyer's guide.
Right. Basically, all I did was I went to my Google reviews, which is where I collect them all.
Okay.
And then copy paste it, and then you can add the date that they put it in and their name, obviously, and then it'll just, just.
Thank
save it.
you. That's awesome. Okay, for whatever reason, my stuff, let me just add these again for this one. Okay, I'm just adding these other ones that I thought were good ones to add. Okay, let me hit save. All right, so now we're going to go to manage presentations again. and we're going to do add a new presentation. So click on that. Where it says listing presentation there, we're going to toggle down because we don't want listing presentation. We want the seller guide. But you can see on here there's listing presentation, seller guide, buyer guide, and sponsoring package. We're just talking about the buyer guide and seller guide today, but feel free to look at the others. We will do a class, I promise, on that listing presentation because that's important, and that's the one where you add the comparables to it, and it's very professional, and that's probably what you're going to use the most of. Yes, Ed?
I was just gonna ask a question, I don't know if I missed it or not. Did you talk about the buyer rep agreement already?
We have not talked about buyer's rep agreement at all.
The reason I'm not gonna go into it, but the reason I say that is because for most agents, that's one of the most touchy, difficult parts to address. This opens the door, when you've done your buyer presentation, you're there, you created the value need.
Yeah, good point.
You presented them a value proposition. That is the time to get the buyer representation agreement signed. And I know there's at least one or two agents in this room as we're speaking that have lost commissions over the past several years because we did not have an effectively current buyer representation agreement.
Right.
And we can and we will fight for you, and the state of Tennessee does require that before you can actually write and present an offer. So the point is, this is the perfect time. You've created the value, you've given them that value proposition. This presentation is incredible for that. Don't let that window of opportunity, because timing is everything. At that point, they're all about it.
Yeah, they're already like primed.
They're there.
Yeah, they're there. So
Get signed right then, and then you don't have to think about it. Because then if they do go to that open house or they go somewhere without you, that is your cover your panties document
yeah.
that gets you paid, period.
Yeah, and you may be in a place that you do not have a laptop with you, so it might be great if you just had like the folder and you had this buyer's presentation maybe printed out on the left side and your buyer's rep agreement on the right side. So then you could just, especially too, sometimes people just meet people at that first house. Safety-wise, it's always best to bring them into the office first if it's the first time you're meeting them and they're like just like a cold lead and you have no idea who they are. You may not want to be in the middle of the country at 7 o'clock at night by yourself with a stranger. So it's always best if you can invite them here first, say, hey, let's meet at the office, and that way Tina will see them, Shan will see them, you could sit them in the conference room, or you just meet here and then you can drive off wherever you're going to go. Even if you're caravanning, they don't have to be in your car. Whatever you prefer to do, whatever's comfortable for them and for you. Sometimes I know you pick up people right at the airport for the first time, like I've done that, like holding a sign, so sometimes you don't have that chance, but you may still want to like say, hey, let's just pop at the office first, or if you're meeting somebody to, again, I've been selling for a long time, but if you're picking someone up from the airport for the first time, maybe have them send a picture of their driver's license, and you can just say, oh, just so I know who you are and what you look like and that kind of stuff. It's no big deal. If it is a big deal, red flags, maybe don't pick them up alone at the airport. Okay, so we're going to go to seller guide. Click on that. So let's do a prospect name. We'll just say Jones again. Letter to seller, you could just, whatever you want to do. I'm looking forward to meeting you, because let's say you sent this to them ahead of time, or can't wait to get you into whatever community that they want to be in. Or, you can write anything you want. So, sorry. Okay, so you could just say, looking forward to working with you. Sorry, gosh. Something like that. Okay. And then again, you can pick out which cover you like. You can change it up, whatever looks interesting. So we'll just pick something. Okay. I just want to click on one. They're opening them all up. All right. There we go. So I'm just picking that one just for fun. All right. So then you would go to view. So we're doing Jones. We're doing the seller. And we're going to view. So everybody click on view. Obviously, you can send it if you want to, but we're just going to click view. Okay. So it should automatically populate with whatever thing you picked out. If you decided to write something, I probably wouldn't, if it's me, I probably wouldn't write anything because it looks weird right there, but whatever. You can do whatever you want, but maybe you think of something special to write, or maybe you guys have an inside joke, or maybe there's something that you know about them, and I know you're, whatever it might have. And then your contact and picture should all show up right there. Does everybody have?
Picture's not showing up, but it showed up on your other.
Right, mine too.
Okay. Okay. That I don't know, like the technology why it would show up on one and not the other. Exit help, go into search help, and maybe they can kind of figure out why the picture's not showing up for you, because that I don't have an answer for. Okay. So all right, so let's move on with this one. So the seller guide. Most often when you have a listing, you usually do meet at somebody's kitchen table. You're sitting there, you walk into their home. You might have spoken on the phone ahead of time, but this might be the first time you're going into their home. So, you introduce yourself. Obviously, you dress as professional as you feels appropriate for the people, the home, the neighborhood, whatever that is. And you might have a folder with you. You might have your laptop with you. Usually, you're like, hi, blah, blah, blah. A little bit of small talk right at the front door. You might want to say a compliment, like, oh, I love you. Wow, this is beautiful. Or, oh, that view. Or, oh, I love this neighborhood. Maybe start the conversation with something nice, genuine. I'm not just like making it sound weird, but like a genuine compliment. And because usually you can find something redeeming about a home, whatever it is. And usually the very first thing that I notice is I'm like, oh, can I set my things down? And would you like to show me around? That's probably like the first thing we do. And I like to put my things down wherever their kitchen table is, because that means I can go back to the kitchen table or dining room table. They're not just going to usher me out the door. So at least I have that little chance to like go get my stuff. So then I set my things down, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's show you around. I usually just say, all right, let's start back at the front door, and then we start there. And then you listen to what they have to say. They'll say, oh yeah, this is our dining room. And as you're walking, you ask questions. You can say, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like the paint color or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, I just painted it last year, or something like that. Maybe have a clipboard, have like some paper, and maybe just take some notes. You don't have to write every single thing about the home, because this is your first time going through there, so it doesn't have to be, you don't have to measure the rooms and all that, because they may not list with you. But you want to at least look like you're interested, you're taking notes, you're asking questions. Let them talk, because they're very probably proud of their home. They've either done a lot of work to it. They know their home best. You can always ask them too, what do you like best about living here in this community and stuff like that. And just be as genuine as possible. And you're all people persons, so you know how to talk to people. But compliment them on certain things, notice certain things, point out things, let them point out things, but let them talk and say what's important to them in that home, because those are going to be key points later on.
Heather,
Yes.
in RealTracs, there's a listing form that I will print out and take with me, and that I used that as my notes.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So, because it literally has the
It has the whole layout for RealTracs.
for everything that you're gonna need on RealTracs.
Says everyone, so if you haven't entered a listing yet in RealTracs, there's all these different prompts, like, okay, what's the lot size, or what's the address, or what's the price point, but then it's going to say number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, basement, lot features, like is there a water view or a slope or stuff like that.
Yeah, so
If
it's
you-
laid out almost in an Excel sheet.
If you want to see, Hope has it turned around.
And if you go into my listings, it'll say underneath my listings, then listing forms. And then there's a link. Oops, sorry. There is a link under that, and you can pick the residential. So collect information for your listing prior to digital, which is the second one. And so every potential listing, lands, lots, farms, commercial, multifamily, or rental. So you can pick whichever form you might need.
Yeah, that's great. So have a clipboard and have those things there and just write your notes on the side of it. But at least it will give you, like if you forget what to even ask, those would be nice prompts for you. Just say, oh, by the way, I didn't see, did you have a fireplace? Because you may not see it because you might be excited, you might be nervous, you might be anxious, so you might miss a couple of things that, oh, I don't remember, did they have a fireplace? Okay, again, this Why Use a Realtor, we talked about this on the Buyer's Guide, so I won't even read it again. So again, you're going to just kind of show why they need an agent, and you're showing how professional you are. Why use an exit agent? This slide is the same as what we saw in the Buyer's Guide. It's kind of what sets exit apart. Okay, so this text list with exit. Is everybody familiar with this text code and this list with exit? I know we've shown it in the meetings. When you do that to a phone, you have them just say, hey, I want to show you something, because at this point, you're sitting down at somebody's kitchen table. They've taken you through the home, and now you're like, okay, do you have a minute to talk? Why don't we go sit down at the kitchen table? You know, you go from the viewing to let's go sit down. If you can get them to sit down, that's better, because you have their undivided attention. Sometimes if they're just walking around or hovering around an island or something like that, they're going to go get a drink. The dad might, walk out to the patio. But if you can have both adults there, both owners there, and you can get them to sit down, that's the best case scenario. So if they have their phone on them, which most likely they do, to say, hey, I want you guys to try something. Now, one of two things. You could do this the day before and send it to them before you even go to that listing presentation. Send them a text or call them or email them, say, hey, I'd like for you to text List with Exit to 85377. Ideally, do it the day before, because that way when you come to this presentation, you can say, did you guys text that? Did you see the video? And they'll probably say, oh, yeah, we did that. That's really cool. I can't believe, blah, blah, blah. You do all those things. So it's just, otherwise you could do it right there. It shows a 2.5-minute video on what you as a listing agent can do for them to get their home sold. That's going to be different than what someone else can do. It kind of talks about the expert marketing suite, smart signs, the individual websites for each home, virtual tours, all the promo flyers that are created, and then it talks about like mobile business card and things like that. But it's a cute 2.5-minute video. So either watch it then or if they've seen it the day before. Property flyers. So these are some of the things that are in that video, but it's going to show it here. The beautiful property flyer is perfect for open houses and to display in your home for potential buyers. The flyer contains a custom text code for your property, so potential buyers can view property details on demand and on their mobile device at any time. So they don't know that this is created automatically. They're thinking that you're doing this. So you would say, I will create, a property flyer for your home. Single property website. Your home is going to have its own individual website. I'll get that all set up for you. Again, this isn't something that you're actually doing, because once you put your listing on RealTracs and MLS, Tina and Shan, they see that you've got a new listing, and then they do whatever they do, the magic up there in their offices, and it gets to Exit, and Exit then creates the website, creates the flyers, creates the virtual tour. You don't do any of it, but it looks like you did do it. Saves you a bunch of time so you can focus your energies on other money-making activities rather than the details of making all the flyers and admin stuff. We have people to do that for you. So, but the sellers are like, okay, that's nice. You're gonna make me a flyer. They probably expect that. Oh, I have a website just for my home. It's not just your company one, because yes, we have our Exit one, but this is one just for their home. So that's gonna be different than what other agents might do. Custom websites created especially for your property with its own unique web address, a photo gallery, virtual tour, lead generation technology, share capabilities, and more. The online flyer, the HTML code is provided to easily embed your property flyer into various website formats and online classified ad sites. Okay, and then your property will have its own virtual tour designed to showcase your home's best features. The tour will be syndicated to popular real estate portals for maximum exposure. So like all those things that are going to be done, it's going to sound like you're doing all those things, but it's all done for you. But what's nice that those individual websites, you can be using that to put it out on Facebook and all the different social media things. You can use all that. The smart sign, we're all familiar with what that is. Anybody unfamiliar? We have these riders right here that don't cost you any money. It doesn't cost you money to do this. Just when you list a home, you put your sign in the yard, put this rider there. Automatically through geolocation, if someone's driving by at 11 o'clock at night and they want information on that home right there, they text Exit to 85377. Through the geolocation, it's going to go right on their phone. It's going to show them that home. It's going to give them the website, the flyer, all the information on it. What's great is it used to just show Exit properties in that area or surrounding area. Now it shows all homes for sale, whether it's like a RE/MAX, a Coldwell Banker, or Century 21. It shows all the homes that are for sale with your face, with your phone number, with your contact. On the very bottom, there's like a disclaimer, like in fine print, saying it isn't listed by Exit Real Estate Solutions, but you just wanted to get that phone call. So they're going to see that one home. What's really fantastic then about it is when they text that, you get their phone number and their lead. You get that contact, so it's a lead generation for you. So that way, in the morning when you wake up, you'll see that, oh, somebody went by my home at 123 Smith Street, and you can call them up and say, oh, did you want to go back and take, I noticed that you went by you texted to Exit. Did you want to take a look at the home? Can I help you find something else? Were you interested in blah, blah, blah? So it's just a way for you to use that lead and try to get more buyers. That's a smart sign. My online marketing. So remember when we filled out our managed settings, and one of the sections was my online marketing, and I had this, I just used what they had. If you wrote something different, it would show up right now. So if you wrote on my online marketing, you know, I market to Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you know, whatever you've put in here, this shows up right here on this my online marketing. If you left that section blank, all you're going to see is my online marketing, which is okay too. There wouldn't be any of this. But then if you're talking with those sellers, you can kind of say, you know, I market it all over. When we enter it into RealTracs, it gets picked up by Zillow, Realtor.com, and I think our next chart shows like all the different places it goes. It just gets picked up by everybody. So you don't have to write something here. You can just kind of talk about it. It just depends what you want to do. My offline marketing. So I thought I had added some other language, but maybe I didn't. But here, this just sort of lists some of the things that you could talk about. You could leave it blank, and it could just say my offline marketing, and then you talk about, you know, besides publishing it on social media, putting it out on Facebook, doing ads, that type of thing. You could say, you know, in my office, we have about 95 agents. They all are working with buyers. I will let them know about your home immediately. They may have somebody that may just want to come and buy the home or take a look at it. Because if you imagine there's 95 agents in their office, and let's say they're each working with 2 or 3 buyers each, that's a couple hundred buyers that I could tell immediately about your home. Whether that's all a fact, maybe, you know, maybe she's working with 1 person, maybe she's working with 10 people. You know, it's just something that you can say to help them, give them confidence that you can get them the greatest exposure as possible, because that's what's truly key. The reason I put some of these networking groups and stuff, that makes a difference too. The more people you can spread it out to, the more people you can talk to, especially let's say it's a higher price home, and you can say, you know, I am going to make sure, you know, I'm going to send out information, or when I meet with my Chamber of Commerce, I'm going to make sure I let all those attorneys and doctors and dentists and all those people know, you know, whatever you want to say that helps you in that situation. Why I'm uniquely positioned to help you. So this is where we filled out that one other section. Whatever you wrote, this is where it shows up. And that you can change. It could be for any, you know, it could be anything. You know, if you're talking, and you can change this for each person. So like if, like Michael, he does music and stuff like that, you know, and he's got a music client, you know, he could say, hey, because I'm you know, a musician and I understand, you know, I work with sound producers, or, you know, I don't even know what you do, Michael. Just as an example. Like this as far as I can take it, right? I mean, I play violin, but, you know, whatever. But, you know, there might be some way that you can put something here that will connect with the person you're talking to, you know, because what you write to somebody that might be really more like uptight and conservative might be something, you might write something different to somebody that's more like a free spirit or whatever. You know, you just kind of got to gauge your client. You know, kind of make it personal, make it unique, make it what makes work sense for you. The giving back with each transaction, we talked about that already on one of the other slides. The power of the organization behind you. Again, like Ed said, you know, you don't want to just, if you're feeling like you're just new to the real estate or you just don't have all that experience besides you, just shift it like a politician would and just say, you know, we have 95 agents at our office. We'd all be trying to get your home sold. Yes and no, right? And, you know, there's a team of us. We've been here since 2008. You know, those type of things. There's offices all over the United States. You know, we're international. Selling your home. So these are some of the steps. And so this is where you can talk to them about like what the process is going to be. Hiring a real estate agent, preparing your home for sale, determining asking price, professional photographs taken, marketing your home, showing your home, receiving offers, and negotiate. So you can break down each one of these as you're talking with them at the table, and you can get into as much as they want to. If they're just glazed over, you might not want to go way into it, but you might want to highlight certain things that you might be doing to market the home. So here when it comes to pricing, because they're probably going to look to you, well, what do you think my house is worth, right? That's going to be the question they're going to ask. And so depending on if this is the first time you've been at the home, sometimes people do like a one and done. They kind of come prepared. They know all the information before they go in. They've already pulled up the tax record. They may have already like pulled comps for the neighborhood. So in the back of their head, they have an idea without even going in, because you can see on the tax record that it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, that's 3,000 square feet, that is built in, you know, 2020. So, you know, you can kind of gauge from that tax record and looking at other things that have sold in that neighborhood, if you're lucky enough to, it's a subdivision. Sometimes those other outlying properties can be more difficult. But if it is like in a subdivision, it's not that hard to kind of see what else is sold recently and to have a general idea before you even go in what the home might be worth. Not specifically, but you might know, okay, it's between 400 and 450 probably, unless, you know, everything's, you know, plated in gold or something like that. So, because they're going to ask you, and sometimes if it's the first time and you don't feel comfortable sitting down and just kind of giving them a number off, you know, right then and there, you want to go back and do your homework and think about it, that's okay too. Just say, you know what, I'd love to sit down, or I'd love to come back now that I've seen your home, let me go back, crunch numbers, pull up some comparables for you, and I can give you, you know, all the information. Would next Tuesday work? You know, just kind of put it like that. Once you've been in the business a little bit longer, sometimes you can just do that one and done, you know, like, because you just know, especially if it's in a subdivision that you've sold a home in there before, or you just sold the one, you know, down the street, you might be able to tell them kind of quick and easy. It just really depends. But okay, so pricing guidelines, setting the proper asking price for your home is the single most important factor that will determine the success of your home sale. The consequences of making the wrong decision can be painful, truthfully. If your home is priced too low, you could literally be giving away thousands of dollars. Price it too high and your home could sit unsold for months, developing the reputation of a problem property. Failure to understand marketing conditions and importance of property pricing your home can cost you thousands and cause your home to linger on the market. Combining the latest technology and my extensive knowledge of the market, I will analyze the current market conditions and assess your time requirements to identify the correct price of your home. So you may read that or may not read it, but you would probably at least say, you know, now that I've seen your home, you know, let me go back, let me pull some comparables on it, let me, you know, hopefully as you went through the home the first time, you kind of found out how old the roof was. If you ask those questions, the roof, the HVAC, the things that are high ticket items, it's good to know that. Oh, sorry, I think I skipped one. All right, important notes. What you originally paid for the property does not affect its current value. That's very true. It's funny though when you're working with a buyer, how they will say, well, they just bought it for $300, now they're asking $600. They've only owned it for a couple months. Okay, that's great, lucky them. You know, if you could have been in the other situation, you know, that's great. But the markets change, you know, and we're kind of always gauging that market. The amount of money you need to get from the sale does not affect its value. So that's the other thing. A lot of times sellers like, but in order for me to buy this other home, or I have to get $500,000 for it. Well, your home's only worth $350. Like, you know, we can't stretch it like that. You know, it doesn't matter. It's unfortunate. What you think it should be worth has no effect on its value. Okay, you know, you'll get people that say, my neighbor told me my home is worth $500,000, and it's like, no, but okay. What another real estate agent says your property is worth does not affect its value. Okay, so just because, you know, maybe they had someone else tell them, you know, a year ago their home was worth whatever, market conditions change all the time. Especially here, you know, maybe something that you had on the market, you priced it a couple months ago, but right now, you know, things have shifted a little bit. Things have kind of come down just a bit. An appraisal does not always indicate what your property is worth on the open market. So oftentimes I see that with commercial. Oftentimes they'll have an appraisal, and the appraisal might be a year old, a couple years old, but if things have changed, or let's say a garbage dump was built next door, you know, things happen that, you know, could change the value of the property at any given time. So appraisal doesn't mean that's exactly what it's worth. The value of your property is determined by what a ready, willing, and able buyer will pay for it on the open market, and this is based upon the value of other recent closed sales or similar properties in your area. So that's kind of why you want to bring those comparables the next time. Okay, so this is a seller, and they want to price it someplace, you know, outrageous. You know, they want to price high. They can always make an offer. Well, something you might say, the wrong price attracts the wrong buyers, and the right buyers won't see it. So like if you're you know, price just way, you know, shooting the moon on the price, it's either, like they said in the slide before, it could just sit there on the market. People are going to be like, oh, that's way overpriced, and never see it. And the people that actually, you know, probably would be great buyers for it, you know, it'd be way out of their price range anyway, so you've kind of wasted time. And also, too, when people always make an offer, I like to say when people are really like, well, I'm not going to take a penny less than whatever dollar it is, I would always rather price it at a more reasonable price and just say, okay, you know what, we just won't be negotiable. We'll just be firm. So instead of saying, well, I'm going to do $525 because I just want to get $500, and you know, like $525 is just shooting the moon, it's just too high, you know, say, why don't we list it at $500, and you know what, we'll just be firm. That way, we'll get you what you want without like being outrageous. every home's a little bit different, but you can always just reassure them, just say, you know what, we won't be that negotiable. Instead of, because some people, when they do this, like if they were shooting like 100,000 over, you know what, let's get it closer to where it needs to be, and we'll just be more firm. We won't have tons of space to negotiate. You know, that might sometimes, especially if you're like at a threshold. If you're a new agent, like a threshold is kind of like buyers when they're looking at properties, they may like only search up to 400,000. So if something was on the market for 410, 415, 420, they're not going to see it because as you set up like an automatic search for a client, when they tell you I can only go 350 to 400, they're not going to see the things that are 410, 420, whatever. So if you were listing a home, you kind of want to be strategic with your listing and kind of look at those thresholds. Like, okay, let's list at 399.9 because that way everybody could see it rather than listing it at 410, just because you might get over, or, you know, and it's more likely you're going to get a solid deal. Okay, next one is, but we have time. So that's like a seller saying, let's price it way here because we have all the time in the world. It says, at some percentage over market price, no reasonable amount of time will produce a sale. Even when priced right for the market, it may require a month or more of exposure to sell. So like, I'm sure if you've ever spent any time on RealTracs, you will see homes that have been on for sale for 200 days, 300 days, it gets to 365 and then expires, you know, and then that's people calling those expires and all that. So you can price things so outrageously that no matter how much time you have, it just doesn't really matter. So pricing is just crucial, and you just kind of want to constantly set that expectation, let them know that pricing is so important. Okay, couldn't we try this price for a couple of weeks? So this is talking about showing cycles, like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So we've been in one of those markets where everything's selling, and I'm sorry I'm talking so long. We're almost done. We're almost done, because I was trying to keep it an hour, so I'm sorry. Showings, we've been in the market where things are selling day 1. You know, they're selling over a weekend, but things have shifted now. So the market times are taking a little bit longer. Things are sitting on the market. They're not selling on it first day. They're not selling over the weekend. You know, I had an agent come into the office. It was on the market for 18 days, and they were like in a full panic. I'm like, 18 days relatively isn't that long. Traditionally, things would take 45, 60, 90 days. Like it's not that outrageous, but we've been fortunate to be in such a great market that things were so quick in that. But in the beginning, you've got to set these expectations that it could take, you know, 30 days, 45 days, you know, possibly to get a contract. So pricing something super high and you're waiting a couple weeks, it's going to kind of get cold. If you know, like everything's hot. Those hot sheets are called hot because that's when everything's hitting the market. It's fresh. It's something new. People haven't seen it. But if something's been sitting there for a while, for a couple weeks, oh yeah, that's that one. Oh yeah, that's the one that's overpriced. Oh yeah, yeah. And then they don't even they're not even interested anymore. And those buyers, as they're looking on your website or they're looking on Zillow or whatever, they keep seeing that one, but it's not doing anything for them anymore because they're like, yeah. So could we try for a couple weeks? It says the majority of prospect activity on a new listing occurs in the early period of marketing. This happens because realtors maintain an inventory of active prospects that have been cultivated over time. When a home is newly listed, realtors arrange for them to see it. Once this active group has seen the property, showing activity decreases to only those buyers new to the market. For this reason, it's important that sellers present their homes in the best condition and at the best price at first exposure to the market. So if any of you had a listing, usually you know, you get most of those showings that first week or the first 2 weeks, let's say, the first 1 or 2 weeks. After that, it's just going to be a showing here, a showing there. You know, it can, like, you can have a week without a showing. So pricing, waiting a couple weeks, you've missed all that initial flurry. Then it's just going to be a 1 or 2. Maybe it'll sell, maybe it won't sell. So pricing is critical, and those thresholds are critical to think about. Where buyers come from, this was from 2018. It says the National Association of Realtors profile of home buyers and sellers updated in 2018. So you can see, and this is 4 years old, so I can only imagine the numbers have changed in that big circle internet where it says 50%. It's probably much larger at this point. But this is on our presentation. So 50% internet, 20% agent, 7% a friend, yard sign, builder, seller, newspaper. How I promote your property for success? I will aggressively market your property to maximize exposure to potential buyers using digital and marketing tools and channels. Enter it into the MLS. Use my digital marketing plan to reach today's savvy and mobile buyers. Syndicate a virtual tour to popular property search sites. Install a yard sign designed to capture buyer leads, the smart signs. distribute just listed flyers to appropriate market areas, actively encourage local real estate agents to consider your home for their buyer clients, create professional, beautifully designed marketing pieces, and distribute to online and offline media outlets and channels, hold an open house. So when they ask you what you're going to do, you can just go to this slide and show them, and you can kind of use these as talking points. And if you have other things that you do, you can add them to this. But this is, again, just like a template, a starting point. This is a great piece of paper. I've printed this one out, just even if I don't use the whole seller's presentation. I just print this one page out and stick it in my folder because, you know, they all know it goes on MLS, but everybody's so internet savvy and stuff. Yeah, this is that when it hits MLS, it goes to all these other sites. So it's like when they, you know, because people want to make sure it's going to go to Zillow. They want to make sure it's going to Realtor.com. They want that greatest amount of exposure. This visual, I think, is incredible because it's like, yeah, I can do all this for you. I will get it on all those sites. You don't physically do that. The internet just automatically populates and they steal everything from MLS. So, but visually, it looks like you're putting it on however many of these things are. Yeah, I'll list with you because you're putting it on 20 sites. Another agent might not just have this graphic, but this graphic will get you that listing. So if any takeaway, at least print out the sheet and stick it in your folder because it's going to make you look like a rock star for sure. Preparing your home for success. So this is once you've kind of talked about all those other things. And again, this seller's presentation can or cannot be your listing presentation. The listing presentation we're going to go over, and that's going to show all the comps, and it's going to kind of do all the steps with that. The seller presentation is kind of talking about the selling process, but you can use it as a listing presentation if you needed to do something kind of fast, because you kind of talks about all that, and you can just have, you know, some comparable listings in your folder, and, you know, you can still make a nice presentation. But this talks about just getting your home prepared, clean, and then clean some more. I won't read all this because it's about cleaning your house. Declutter, that makes sense, right? Eliminate smells, that's huge. So if you notice a smell when you walk in, those sellers aren't going to notice the smell. You know, they've lived in it, so whether it smells like pet urine, smoke, yes, Ed?
I just
Share.
quick, immediate story on two things you just hit in the last 3 months. Had a client that I sold some commercial property to, built a hotel. They decided they're ready to buy a home. He contacted me the other day, or I say other day, a few weeks ago, and asked if I would work with him. I said, of course I will. He called me last Friday morning, he sent me a text at about 7 a.m. House hitting the market that day in one of the #1 subdivisions in our area, which is Briarwood. And I want to see it today, now. I said, okay, I'll do what I can. Got it set up. When I pull it up, I know immediately it's overpriced. I was the builder partner on the house. I knew
No,
it
the
was
house.
overpriced. We showed it. As soon as you walked in the front door, you smelled the fact they had a big dog. There's a difference in the smell with a big loud or something.
Yeah.
Which I love dogs, by the way, so I got one, so I'm not talking. But there's a distinct difference in
You're
the
not being mean
smell
to dogs.
of a big dog living in the house than
Yeah.
it is here. Immediately, we all smelled it. I never said a word. We got halfway through the house, and I said, what do you guys think? And it's like, we're gonna spend too much money repainting, eliminating the smell. We got some floors where they've been damaged, et cetera, et cetera. No, thank you. So we left, and that evening, the agent called, and she said, what do you people think? Well, I'm gentle and I'm careful, but, well, we feel like the price is significantly over the market, and frankly, there's a few things, and I gave her some gentle, nice tips. The next day, they dropped it 30,000. That was on Saturday. On Tuesday, they dropped it another 30,000.
Wow.
And my client called and said, what kind of offer do you think they'll accept? I said, make an offer and see what they say. She came back last night and said, you know, we were just turned off. And my point is, they're ready, they're willing, they're able, they have the wherewithal to buy that house. But the agent did not do the seller a favor by #1, not having them have it ready, or at least insisted to do, and pricing it right. And, you know, maybe not the client set the price, but I know this agent, she knew better, and she accepted that. setting, and it's a very nice subdivision, a nice house in the subdivision. It just wasn't show and tell ready.
Yeah,
So, and it's still sitting there.
yeah, it makes a big difference. Yeah, like those other sides, like cleaning the home. Obviously, if there's cobwebs hanging from the ceiling, and there's pet stains all over the place, whatever you can do to get it clean or advise them to clean it. I did for the smells. I had a client one time, she had a bunch of cats, and it just smelled like cat urine. It was bad. And so I was trying to help, and I said, well, go to the store, buy some candles, like buy like a dozen candles, like you need a lot. She comes back. She comes back, and she's like, I got some candles, and honestly, she bought votives, which are like this high, unscented. I'm like, oh my God, you totally didn't get what I was trying to tell to you. So anyway, but that makes a big difference. Like you want to make sure the house is as clean as possible, whether they can clean it or tell them they might need to clean it, because this might be how they're comfortable living, and they may not think it's not tidy, but you as the agent need to let them know, what, if you could just do these few things, take the stuff off your counter, whatever it is. Decluttering, like they said, sometimes if they're like have a hoarder situation or whatever they can do. I always feel like if you can shove it all in the garage, or at least in one bedroom, have all the rest of the house look good, because people can understand boxes because you're moving. So just put everything in boxes and put it in the garage. Everyone knows what a 2-car garage looks like. But smell is huge. One of the agents in the office was in my office yesterday, and she said, well, it's her listing, and she didn't notice the smell, but she said her husband noticed the smell when he walked downstairs, and it smelled damp, and it kind of smelled like mold. So she's like, I didn't notice it, they don't notice it, but if you smell something like that, you don't want it to be smelling like that. So I said, maybe get that damp rid, one of those things that you just set there, try to absorb some of it, and it could just be that it's vacant, the home's vacant, and everything's closed in, but eliminating smells is super important. So these are things as agents, and you're going through there, you gently let people know, because they're not going to know, because they're used to these things.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would you ever think if your seller is not willing or able to do the cleaning, moving, all of those kind of things, rearrange things, that you as the agent would pay for somebody to go in there and clean it?
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've spent 6 hours at someone's home, and I'm like, you know what, do you mind if I just move some of your furniture around? Because, sometimes you visually, when you've been in enough homes, you're like, why do you have the couch blocking this, your bay window or whatever? So I'm like, do you mind? And so we put the coasters under, and we just kind of moved all the furniture around. That cat lady, I can't even tell you what I did. She had cobwebs on her ceilings. I'm taking the brooms, and the spiders are going down the wall. And I took my shoes off just to be polite. Quickly put them back on, because I sat at her dining room table, and I'm like, why are my feet wet? I'm like, oh my gosh. So I took my shoe and moved the Oriental rug or whatever was there, and all the hardwood underneath the Oriental rug was all warped, because it's like pet urine. It's so nasty. And so I'm like, you know what? I told her, I said, we got to take this rug off the floor. It's ruining your floors, because they were already ruined. And she didn't think anything wrong with any of it. She had her windowsills all up, and she would put her cat food on the windowsills, and like cats would be everywhere. Honestly, truthfully, I never sold that home. I just couldn't, I could only do so much, because she was one of those people. You'll get all different types of buyers. She would call me where my office used to be up north. It was on a corner, and she'd say, Heather, do you know how much the milk is at Walgreens? I'm like, I don't know how much the milk is at Walgreens. I think she wanted me to like look at like the marquee sign from like across my office to see if it was like on sale. I don't know, but it was a little bit much. She ended up staying in the home, because our feedback wasn't great. She needed so much money out of it. It was definitely back in the 2008 time period, where she was it's like a short sale situation. So it didn't sell. She could still be there. I don't know.
Or just be careful, that's all I'll say, because you can definitely get put money in their house.
Yeah.
And then, unless you know them personally, and you know that regardless what happens, be careful.
Yeah. I mean,
Say that, be careful.
yeah, that's probably true. Yeah,
I'm
because
not saying don't do it.
right, because we've all like done it, like paid for
Gotta
things
know
to be
your
done. Yeah. Yeah. So and repainting, that's something, sometimes the way the market's been, you don't really have to do anything. You could just put the house on the market, and it would have sold right away. Well, now, you may these things might be coming back, where you might consider saying, hey, you might need to repaint this, or let's freshen some things up before it goes to market, because it's a different market than it was a few months ago. Let me zip through this, because it's almost 12. It's 12. Depersonalize the home. That's where they say take all the family photos out, take all the awards and trophies and all that kind of stuff down, so other people can think of it as theirs. Stage the home. that is something, up to you, depends on the home. It costs money either for the seller or for you to stage it. Stagers bring in furniture, they'll move things around, they'll design it. Not every home needs that. Me times 10, okay, so this is where when you check those boxes, handyman, title search companies, all that, they're supposed to populate right here, and for whatever reason it's not, and so I don't know, maybe I didn't save it right, but when I did this last night, when it says me times 10, it listed all of those handyman services, title companies, all that. Plus I wrote, my network of professionals within Exit Real Estate Solutions and in the greater Nashville community make every effort to treat each customer with top service. So it's not just you helping them sell their home, it's all of us exit agents, it's your surveyors, it's your title companies, it's your attorneys, it's your inspectors, it's all those other things. So like they say, there's that Dunbar's number where every person can only know 150 people or have them as like acquaintances. But if all of us have 150 people, it's kind of like, millions, right? Okay. And I'm trying to finish real fast. Understand communication. My commitment to you to invest 100% of my effort delivering first-class service, make the process simple and stress-free, provide you access to my network of industry professionals to serve as your trusted advisor. Thank you. Ready to help. So that is that, and then again, you can print it up, you could show it to them, whatever is best. So that is basically the end. Does anybody have any questions? How to use it, when to use it? You can print them, you can send them, but they're really useful. What's the best thing about it is it brands all to you. So it looks like you created this and you didn't have to make anything. So, and you don't have to use all of it, you can just gleam a couple sheets out of it and stick it in your folders, and that's good enough too. But at least it gives you something to work with. Our next one that we're going to do, in 2 weeks, we're going to practice scripts. So if you guys can all come back, we're going to do scripts on objections. We're going to do scripts on cold calling. We're going to do all kinds of different things. We're going to partner up, and it's just going to be easy peasy. I don't think we're not going to make people stand up here and do it unless somebody's like wants to do it. But we're definitely going to partner, and we can all break off in different parts. But the more you practice those type of things, the better you get at them. So we're going to have them all printed. So even if you don't want to do it, at least come and get the packet of scripts because it will have all the verbiage of things that you might want to know about. Thank you for coming. Sorry it was so long. I thought, I'll be done in like 15 minutes. God, no. Bye, all the people online.